funny, but I'm so focused on what it is I'm looking at or trying to figure out what's going on next. They get no response from me. So it's something really funny. Crickets. Yes. Yeah. I think I saw that. Yes. Joining us on the replay. Hello and welcome. This is Mike Charlton, Red Peloton, and I'm joined with Cole Rasmussen this morning. How are you, Cole? Good morning.
Good morning. Doing well. I'm on The third day here of our stage race. My legs are feeling noodly, so we'll see
Joining us on the replay.
how today's
Hello
B
and
race
welcome.
goes. But
This is Mike
gonna
Charlton,
enjoy
Red
watching the C
Peloton, and
race.
I'm joined
Enjoy
with
watching the A
Cole
race for
Rasmussen
sure.
this morning. How are you, Cole? Fantastic. Thanks for joining us. We'll look forward to seeing you race in the second group and having you back in the broadcast booth, as it were, for the A race. But this morning, right now, welcome to for the this is the C riders rather. We're going to be starting here shortly. We've got an 8:30 start. This is the men's C, the women's B group. You guys are doing the Watobia Figure 8 route. You've got 18.5 miles and 833 feet of climbing. About 3 minutes to go. Let me go ahead and read you the standings for the men's C. So this is after two events. This is after Friday's time trial and yesterday's criterium. Combine the time, just like you're seeing on the Tour of France or any other big stage. It's cumulative overall time, the rider with the least amount of time to complete the courses in the best position. So if we look at the day two leaderboard, first place, we have Brian Castelli from our own Red Peloton. Congratulations, Brian. Good luck today. In second place overall, we have Dr. Noodle, who rode very strong on that crit course yesterday. In third place, we have Dale Huckabee from Big Orange. In fourth place, we've got John Simmons from Tesla Racing. And from fifth place, today we've got Brant Arthur, and that rounds out the C category. So we'll see who shows up at the start line. Hope we have a complete field. And we've also got some women who are registered to race today. Overall, standings for that is going to be first place Veronica Huckabee, in second place Culver, in third place Ichua. So we will see who shows up for the start line today. Otherwise, we've got about a minute and 45 our 8:30 start this.
Yep, it should be interesting. We picked and purposefully selected routes that would give kind of a combination, right? We knew some people have different strengths. We got to show that off in the flat time trial course. We had the crit, right? So we wanted to ensure that to round off getting some climbing in there. So we've added a fair bit of climbing on today's route. We try to keep things around an hour and a half. You know, obviously, Zwift road races are a little shorter than road races out in real life, but we wanted to kind of have a good mix of contour, and hopefully we'll see some good action come about because of that.
Sounds great. We appreciate all the work into the researching and test riding, and sure the qualities of a race that we wanted on all the courses, the time trial, the crit, the road race. We're well researched at different categories. Coming up on 30 seconds till start time, riders. And once we get rolling, we'll talk a little bit more about where the sprint points are, where the KOM, Queen of the Mountain sprint are, prepared for that, how to look for that on the road, talk a little bit about overall payouts, and hopefully see some good racing action. We've got about 10 seconds, riders. Start ramping up. You've got now 5 seconds, and we'll be underway. 2, 1, and we're off. We are racing. Start of the men's category C and women's category B races.
All right, so it looks like we have, let's see, 6 riders in today's race, 2 women, 4 men. So again, that's I don't see Dr. Noodle here, so that'll be an
Don't see Dr. Noodle. Had a strong first 2 stages. Remember, obviously, riders drafting is legal, enabled, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you're at in the course. If you are 2 riders, 3 riders, you do have the ability to work together and share the load today's course. Looks like a flat coastal start. Nice little easy start to today's race along the coastline to get things going.
Yep. Luckily with the road race, portion being a little bit longer, we don't have to worry about the hot starts, right? People can just kind of
Yes.
roll into it, let the legs get warm before the action starts in the hills there. So we can see uh, Ceiling Chua is sitting in second, kind of closing in on Brian. Hopefully, get a little bit of a draft there. The Huckabees are riding together. Brant Arthur
And just
at that.
momentarily ago, just past the start finish, is that the actual finish line for us today, Cole?
No, the actual finish will be our blue banner. This loop goes out, does quite a few little mini climbs, as it were, but we'll finish on a blue banner out on a separate portion of the course. It's not a full loop on this one.
Gotcha. So we will. So won't be passing that then. So that will come up. Riders will come up on that blind, not having passed it before.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
we
So
will do our
Brant
best
Arthur
to make
missed.
sure that folks
Yeah.
know when we're getting down to those last few miles. We'll try to keep everybody posted so they're well aware of how much racing is left in their day, as well as try to let you guys know when the sprint points are, where the King of the Mountain points are. So if I look at my course profile, looks like the first midway competition, King of the Mountain, and that's looking like about 4 or 5 miles in. Some good descending after that, little rollers and Watopia Sprint. That's going to be probably 8, 9 miles in. And then your second King of the Mountain looks like a steep pitch, about 14, 15 miles in. A nice good descent, some rollers, and you have the Watopia Sprint, and that will happen maybe, looks like almost 3 miles. Total of 833 feet of climbing today. Really a mixed bag of everything. What we like to see in a road race. Good fast descents, some rollers, 2 good pitches today.
Yep, that'll make it pretty interesting, I think. Looking back here, Brant Arthur was here on day 1 but missed the crit. He had a really strong showing in the time trial. So it'll be curious to see how this mixes in. Again, he won't be in the running for the Omnium, having missed the crit, but he may prove to be a bit of a wild card if it comes down to a breakaway or something to that effect today during this race.
Yes, good luck to you, Brant. Thanks for coming back, day 3. And remember, we go a little deeper in the final one-day stand. We are paying out 3D and then the overall. So not a candidate for the overall Omnium, but today's stage. So good luck. Great to see Veronica Huckabee, the group, hanging in the lead peloton today. Let's see what we got when we get into the hills. Love to see her stay with the peloton to the climb and have the big orange team riding together as long as possible. So let's see how the day unfolds. Right now, going through the tube and some good scenery under the water. Riders will be treated to very different scenery than what you might see on the road, hopefully distracting from some of the hard work that's gonna be at hand. So enjoy the scenery, but make sure you pay attention. Riders don't want to miss tack or a certain big road race stages where you got the big climbs.
Yeah,
Tough.
I can't imagine
Get
with
some distance
such
between.
a small.
Be tough to be made up. So pay attention, keep your eyes open, and we'll try to bring attention to the attacks.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I can't imagine with a group this small, too many people trying very aggressive maneuvers this early. But you never know.
Never know. Somebody could be feeling in a time trial type kind of mood.
Yep, absolutely.
Never know. So again, results on the first day for the riders who are on course right now. Again, returning for day 3, Brant Arthur. He was the winner of the time trial. quickest time 26 minutes 22 seconds. We had Dr. Noodle second, scratch today. We have Dale Huckabee was third place in the time trial. Let's see. No, I'm sorry, fourth place. So Brant Arthur first, Brian Castelli second place. Sorry, missed you, Brian. 27 minutes 52 seconds. Third place, Dr. Noodle. Fourth place, Dale Huckabee in a time of 29:25. And then John Simmons, who was out on course today, fifth place with a time of 33. Look at Veronica Huckabee's time. Who was third in the B race in 28. Chua, second place, 28:05. It looks like Chris Culver not in the field today was our winner in the time trial here from County, a time of 27.
So we're still together. That was kind of the first little roller bump coming out of that tunnel. It's at around 4.5%, 5% there. That's always, if you're not paying attention, that can sting coming out of there. So we're all still together, cruising along 35 kilometers per hour, 26, 27 there. So not hanging around, but just kind of easing in. The group's still together.
And things warmed up, loosened up, mentally preparing for the first big climb at about 3 miles in.
Yep. So the first hill they'll get to is the Zwift KOM verse, and this actually isn't the biggest climb, but it is definitely one to think about. So in the reverse direction, as you can see from the profile, it kind of rolls up, has a bit of a roller in the middle, and then kicks up right at the end. You come across the banner, they'll go out, do a loop, come back into the Zwift KOM, and the opposite direction, it's much steeper, shorter, but much steeper. So I'm curious to see how the group tax these KOMs, see who is trying to reserve some effort, some energy.
Yeah. Gotcha. A lot of strategy will come into play today. You look at that first climb, Cole, first KOM. What would you say if you had to estimate the field of ski riders and woman? What do you think would be the time to get to the top of that first total climb time to estimate?
Yeah, that one's curious. So this group, I'm trying to think back when we did our scouting. This is a 4.5, 5 minute, probably 6 minute effort, depending on whether or not people start attacking. Like I said,
Gotcha.
this one rolls the longer direction, right? As you can see, it ramps up as they go, whereas on the return route, it's only 0.6 miles at 5% versus 1.6 miles at 1.8%. So it's a much different climb coming in reverse. So that 1.6 miles at 1.8% doesn't look bad, but it it takes it out of you, and especially after 2 days of very intense riding. So in this
Every little
direction,
bit,
as we'll see,
you're going to feel it.
Yeah, you'll feel it. So in this direction, they'll actually kind of start to climb up right here. As we see, there's so you can see on the profile or on the map itself, there's a bit of a switchback coming, right? So they're coming out of that 0 feet of elevation, if you will, coming off the beach. And this portion right here, nice 1-2% kind of stair step, if you will, just works its way up the side of the mountain.
Gotcha.
Looks like
So 2 women on course today.
Yep.
So we have, let's see if categories, both going to be women Bs. So Veronica and Chua in the category have So 4 men, 2 women on course right now. Veronica Huckabee is sole contender for the overall Omnium. So she finishes today. She's got that wrapped up.
Nice. That's when consistency pays.
Yes. But again, our other rider, Chua, has the opportunity to be on that first step podium. So she will be racing for the win today. So good luck to both of our winners in this Peloton. So Brian Castelli from Red Peloton here in the Santa Rosa area, he's had a very consistent race weekend so far. He was second in the time trial and had a great finish yesterday in the crit. He's winning the criterium. A Cat 4 rider, been to a number of races with Brian. His enthusiasm is amazing. He loves the sport. It's just fun to see. Coming to the sport a little later in age, the beautiful thing about this sport, you have folks that have started when they're young and teens and kids and kept on through it, and folks that have, after 50, after 40, come into, they were previous athletes as swimmers or runners and made the transition, just for whatever reason, got turned on to the sport and got a bike and started riding indoors or outdoors. It's an amazing sport when folks come into it. Of course, any recreational riders out there that we see, but today is reserved for the folks racing.
Yep.
Folks who get a thrill from the competition and the physical aspects of racing. But Brian Castelli, just a gem to see out there on race weekends. The preparation, the excitement of being on course, and just excited to be
All right.
being
So
competitive. He got a jump start on the 2020 season, like most of us. He was able to do Cherry Pie Road race in Napa, and the Sky Express race in Livermore, where he finished 8th, and then we had to all pull the plug. So that was the extent of 2020 season, except for now. And the year before, a bunch of races that Brian competed in Land Park, Lodi, Brisbane, Davis, soon. So I'd say more of a crit rider, but he does have the opportunity to show us what he's got on the road course today. As we head into the climb, correct, Cole? Tell us what's going on with course right now.
Yep, so right here is our initial kind of kicker. So as you can see, right around this corner, we're looking at 10, 11, 12%. So this is going to be 30 seconds to a minute of good effort. We can see Veronica's off the front here, putting a little bit of gap on Celine, Shua, and the rest of the group is staying together. But this is going to be kind of that first test, right? See how everyone's feeling. They're warmed up. We're 15 minutes in. It'll start to flatten off here. It'll kind of roll through a bit of a valley and then continue at that 2 to 3%.
Gotcha. Veronica looking in her element right now. Clouds so dark, you can barely see the rain coming down. Just looks as relaxed as can be. Making that climb out of the saddle as the rain falls.
So we'll see. It still looks like Brant Arthur, Castelli are together. Dale Huckabee's just sitting back a bit.
So now descending, Cole, on a course like this, drafting going to come into play as well? Do you need on that in front of you? Need to put in a little less effort even on the descents?
Yeah, so on the descents in Zwift, it's a little tricky, as in once it's beyond 2, 3, 4%, you can actually get into what they call a super tuck, where your avatar will actually kind of kneel down or get off the seat and crouch into a more aerodynamic position. And so they'll be able to do that after the banner at the end, where it actually will hit some greater than 6% downhill. But as you can see now, Veronica's got a 10-second gap on the rest of the field. Arthur Brandt now's come out of the group as they start to roll up towards that banner. Looks like John Simmons.
Yeah, looks like Veronica very comfortable.
Yep, throwing down some power,
nice
flexing
little lead,
a bit,
so
showing that
intending to maybe take a solo crack at this thing and show these guys how to ride in the mountains, or maybe just taking a little advantage of climbing. Just wants a little space between the field right now, so she can relax a little bit more. We'll have to see how this plays out and what her strategy is.
Yep, so it looks like, let's see here. Castelli's sitting right with Arthur Brandt. He's realized and probably foresees Arthur being his main competition for the day. Dale is 7 seconds back. Looks like he's still in the group there, so they're stringing out a bit here. Probably trying to save a little bit of energy, try to keep people close.
Now, was that, did we have Veronica was that King of Mountain that she just went under the banner? Queen of Mountain? Which banner was that?
Yeah,
showing polka dot jersey.
So, yep.
Okay, so that's Queen of the Mountain for her and King of the Mountain for the men.
Yep, so at a time of 4:39, that's actually a really good time. She put in a nice smooth effort. All right, so now we're seeing Brant Arthur come across the line at 4:50. Sealing, Brian Castelli, 4:57. A few seconds there.
Beautiful, and I'm got an eye on Veronica here on the descent. She is cooking. She is not coasting. 0.8 watts per kilogram as she comes down back onto the flats. So making up time, 34 miles an hour, 33 miles an hour. So
yep, she's putting in some power. That's a dig, because
really does not look like she was just getting a little breathing room and going to join the Peloton again. She is taking this on herself. So fun to watch her put in the effort and ride solo off the front of the group at this early point of the day. Well done.
So she's putting in an effort here. She could have coasted, be resting those legs for the remainder of the time, let it come back together, but she has chosen to go on the offensive here. That's the thing about Zwift. You can only coast when it's really steep, so it's almost in events like this in your own best interest to keep those legs spinning, do some work on the way down.
Yes.
Maybe get yourself a bit of a gap.
So Chua, Arthur, and Castelli, 3-man Peloton chase. Veronica off the front right now as they come into the flats. So they will have an opportunity to now work as one, take advantage of the draft. While Veronica's out there by herself with all the wind in her face, these riders will be able to share the load a little bit and take a little break by sitting in that draft, especially on the flats.
Yep, so we come down off the mountain here. We'll come up into some rollers, a little bit of a picker into our sprint. So we'll have to see who's kind of saving some legs for the sprint there. And remember, the sprint points as well as the KOM points are all based on time. So if somebody is off the back from the Peloton but puts in an effort on a KOM or puts an effort into a sprint segment, we will they'll be rewarded with that cash prize for the top time on that particular event, or that particular.
So a little different than normal on-road. A little different than normal stage racing. It's a segmented time on the climb, so it's not first rider across the line. It's really looking at a portion or a segment.
Correct.
So explain to us again. I see Brian looks like he has the feather icon explain to us how that can benefit Brian.
Yeah, so feather icon, it's been changed previous. Basically changed your, which a lighter weight to ride faster. And as you can see here, there's a 3% kicker coming, kind of rolling up into this new area here. So Brian deployed his feather, essentially lower his weight ratio, rides to give him a little boost. Hopefully, what it looks like to me is kind of stay with Brant Arthur, give it a rest, knowing that the sprint segment is coming up.
Looking at the front right now, if we take a look at Veronica on a fun part of the course, just a kind of serpentine course, a little up and down, winding left. I'm finding myself in the broadcast booth kind of leaning into the turns right now as I'm watching on screen
Yes,
her take
absolutely.
the
This is
shortest part of the course.
This is actually one
Back
of my
and forth,
favorite.
little fun, seeing some wildlife
Yeah,
off to the side.
exactly. It's one of my favorite segments in all of Watto. Really in Zwift, because it to me it looks like Highway 4 or some of our Sonoma County back roads where it's just green grass, rolling roads, little uphill, downhill, left, right. Actually, some people tend to get a little seasick in this particular portion as you're stationary on the bike, but your eyeballs are seeing, the up and down. Your smart trainers actually increase, essentially provide you feedback of his rollers, so it can be a real kind of scramble on your.
Yeah, extremely varied. It's one second you got a little descent, the next second you're out of the saddle and putting out some big power. For example, right here, 65 RPMs, watts kicking up to about 175, and slow speeds because you got a little pitch. So she's
Yeah,
got a
exactly.
nice about 27, 29-second lead over our next three riders. There's a little separation.
Yep. It's like
Let's see, we got Chua, Castelli, yep, all three riders, and Arthur. So that threesome sticking together, working together. So Cole, is that a little trickier then when you're trying to stay on a wheel when the terrain gets so varied? Is it a little trickier to stay together?
yeah, absolutely, because everyone's trainers and everyone's connection to Zwift is a little different, right? And so those times, the segments of a second that hit, everyone is feeling those rises and ebbs and flows a little differently. So it makes it really hard, especially in some of the team time trials, to maintain a smooth baseline through there. Or when you're really digging in, it makes it really difficult to kind of moderate
Gotcha.
your power, stay with the group and not overshoot it. If you're trying to sit in the back and save your legs or draft, it's a definitely an element of Zwift that
And a little sprint going
makes
on
things.
right there. It looks like for the men, they just finished the sprint point, and it looked like Brant Arthur putting in some big power to take the sprint points there. Just moments
Yes.
before,
Yep.
Veronica earned herself the green jersey, the women's category. So congratulations to you for earning the green jersey at that sprint point. And I have Brant Arthur as just a bike length or so between the next place rider. So he has earned himself some sprint cash. Congratulations.
Yep. Actually, it looks
So at
like.
that point, then, that puts us at about 9.5 miles into our 19-mile race. Coming up on the halfway point of the road race, and these riders have been on the gas for about 25 minutes. So the hills, next time up, going to be probably a little different story than the first time up the hills. Always that, the more you climb, the legs get get beaten up. Always a different story as you get further into your race. So we'll have to see the power these folks
Take
hit
a
the
look
second
at
big.
the sprint leaderboard here. Sealing Chua came through with a faster sprint time than Veronica. So
Okay, so that's interesting. This is where things are a little tricky to track and a little different than
yeah,
on the
absolutely.
road. So working with those other two riders, the sprint segment was a little faster than Veronica, so technically she crossed the line first, being off the front, but the ellipse time from point A to point B on that sprint point um, is going to go to Chua. So congratulations on the fastest sprint segment for the women. So on the leaderboard, since Veronica went through first, she had the green jersey initially until Chua and that main Peloton came through and the ellipse time was lower, shifting the jersey over. Congratulations to her. As those three trucking along, the gap now about 30 seconds or so.
Yep, looks like. So now they're through the sprint. The is that kicker on the course map just about 9.5 miles in. So then they're going to get a little bit of a relaxation. They're going to drop back down to around sea level before they go into the next climb. Interesting to
Gotcha.
see if there's going to be any attacks. If Brant Arthur tries to, again, separate himself from Brian Castelli, perhaps.
Well, that's, we're seeing that right now. Brian, you got about a 5 second gap between
Ah,
those other
yeah.
two riders. So 5 second gap, that's enough to not be getting the draft. Is that right, Cole? You got to be really right on
Yeah,
that wheel.
absolutely. Yep, you got to.
So Brian putting in a good effort here to latch onto the back of that group and get a little bit of a break. And he has done so. Well done. So the three riders all together. But for a moment there, Chua and Arthur on the gas, some pretty decent numbers. Everybody's settling in, some recovering right now. If we go up the road, 20 seconds, 30 seconds.
Yep.
The story of the day right now, Veronica Huckabee spending most of this day so far off the front, cruising along 26 miles an hour, 181 watts, real comfortable. Working though, heart rate up to about 170. She is getting a workout this morning. She is earning that spot to be off the front with the rest of the riders.
So it looks like Brian's clawed himself back onto this group of three here with Ceiling Chua and Brant Arthur. This is all kind of a flat section here, as you can see, minus 1%. They're just kind of rolling in. Hopefully, you're getting a little recovery. Getting some water, maybe grabbing a gel. Get a little pop of energy before this next climb.
Also a reminder, we've got John Simmons on course in C group riding his own race today. He on course, climbing, settling, looking smooth at about spinning up the little climb he's at right now, about 90 RPM. So want to welcome John out to the course and say thanks for coming out and racing today. He did his thing.
Yeah, like so many portions of the terrain, Zwift, as you can see, they're going across these bridges that connect the little mini islands here. The those bridges are another kind of environmental condition that causes the bikes to slow down. So it'll be curious to see if anything kind of happens here, if anyone lets a gap form. You gotta, as so often in Zwift riding, you gotta pay attention to even the littlest things because they can cause that gap to happen. And for a race like this, a small gap like that, and seconds off, and your hopes are dashed.
Gotcha. There's those do or die moments. Either get on now or pay a bigger price for the rest of the day. And it looks
Yeah,
like, Veronica
absolutely.
just keeps trucking along. She just finished a little dirt section. Didn't realize this had a little dirt on it, of course, today.
Yep. Yeah,
Continues to
as they
extend
come
her
in
lead,
towards the
45, 50 seconds.
yeah, as they come up towards the Italian villas there's a section of dirt.
All right, so we are about 12 miles in, about past the half an hour point, about 32 to racing. Monica holding that steady 24 miles an hour, and got about a 55-second lead. These three riders, got to tell you, these folks are going to have to get organized and start digging a little deeper if they're going to have a chance to bring her in. Still one significant climb to go.
Yep.
Our 18 miles today.
So we're having some video issues with the way we have to set this up. The commissaries are actually a part of the event, and unfortunately, we're not riding. So as you can see here on screen in the live feed, camera got flipped to myself as a commissaire, and because I am not close to the rest of the riders, we're not able to actually kind of flip back and get a hold of those riders. So we're gonna have to rely on you, Mike, to finish the commentary along as hopefully you're able to see the rest of the riders.
I will be the eyes of the broadcast. So right now the group of three, Castelli, Huckabee, and Chua going through a tunnel of water. Pretty flat portion of the course right now. Looks like Veronica has now passed the 1 minute elapsed time. So she's got a minute gap over the Peloton and just looking as smooth, 24 miles an hour. Definitely, she is going to just stay on the gas. And she's got vision of solo completion to the finish line. So it looks like we do, let's see, about a minute or so. Fluctuates a little bit, I think, depending on the terrain. The gap, about a minute.
Okay, great.
The big part about stage racing, and mentioning the last couple days, not only is performance on that day's event, but it's the ability to cover, how deep is your fitness, how reliably can you call on the legs to perform today after two big efforts over the last couple of days. That's what your stage racing is all about, not about the effort that day, but overall. So I'm looking at Brian Castelli right now. A little bit of time on his other two breakaway alliance teammates for the day.
Yeah, so you can see at the bottom of the screen there, he's got about 35 meters. That's showing around 3 or 4 seconds. And again, sometimes the seconds and the meters between people are not exactly connected. See that Brian's definitely got a little bit of a gap, and I'm sure he did that knowing that this kicker coming out of the tunnel was going to slow him down a bit. So yeah, as you can see that they're drawing him back in. So that potentially was a tactical maneuver to keep himself in touch with this group, right? If you climb slower than the group, it's always good to kind of start that climb first. See if you can essentially use that time, that gap that you've kind of created to stay with the group here.
Gotcha. So then again, the trick is to make sure you don't cut that too close.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks like Brian, although he's off this group here, not having Brant Arthur in the crit yesterday takes him out of Omnium standing. Realistically, Brian is just racing John Simmons in today's race for that overall. Obviously, being
Gotcha.
hyper competitive, like we know Brian is, he's gonna definitely want to try and stay with this group. So yeah, his main competitors today are Dale and John, and as we can see, he's got a 48-second gap to Dale Huckabee. So he's looking good for the Omnium as long as he doesn't have any issues between now and the end of the stage here. So as we roll back into town, getting ready for the second KOM, and this is the one that's really going to put the hurt on the group. This is a shorter segment, much steeper. Make the turn here, and
Veronica is hitting that right now.
line.
She's at 225 watts coming out of Veronica. The RPM's back down, out of the saddle, 61.
Digging. 4.5 watts
working
per
hard
kilogram.
here.
Working, yeah, absolutely.
And a little tricky again to know as far as the Queen of the Mountain competition goes, how Chua's going to roll through this section. So Veronica's just got to go for it. She's just got to assume that she's going to give it everything she got and put in a good time, and then just have to wait and see how the rest of the peloton and Chua run through to see how that plays out. But right now, looking fresh. She's attacking this hill, putting some good power out. Still, like you said, Cole, 4.5 watts per kilogram, translating to about 220, 230 watts, looking smooth. Looks like she could do this just about all day.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. She is putting in some effort here. She's, as you can see on the top map, and again, Brian perfectly poised to use that feather, give himself kind of a lightweight kick on this real steep 7% section. Nice and smooth.
And here comes the sprint banner for Veronica. She's closing in on last few meters. And well done, coming across the banner. So time will tell. Let's wait to see this three-rider peloton comes through. For now, she's got the second polka dot jersey. So we'll have to see how quickly that rest of the group comes through to see if she'll maintain possession of the polka dot jersey or she'll lose that to. So if we look at, they are in the midst of the climb right now. Looks like Brian Castelli setting the pace for that three-person peloton.
Yep. So now Brant Arthur, as you can see, just kind of cruising right around here. So it looks like he'll be looking to just put a bit of a gap on Brian and take that Zwift KOM for himself there. And Mike, I'm going to rely on you for the times associated with the Zwift KOM here. As previously mentioned, we had some issues. Oh, there goes Sealing Chua. She's on the attack. Potentially seeing
sitting right at the front. She is leading the pace right now.
And potentially she already
4.2 watts per kilogram.
Yep, she sees Veronica's time and knows what she has to beat in order to grab that cash prize there.
Spinning up that mountain right now, legs moving quick. She's got about a 90 RPM. So those riders are seeing the finishing KOM banner.
Yep.
And Brant Arthur punching it to the top of the hill right now.
All right, he went through. It's like Sealing just came through. What? So who wins that?
So it looks like Chua at 246, and let's see, Veronica at 225.
All right.
So if I'm reading that right, looks like Veronica is going to take and maintain that second Queen of the Mountain jersey.
All right. sir. Uh, all right, we got one more sprint segment, one more $5 cash prize on hand.
So as riders finish that second King of the Mountain, Queen of the Mountain sprint point, they are about 41 minutes into racing. I'm sure after that effort up the hill, the legs are feeling it now.
Oh, absolutely.
Veronica
they are
maintaining about little downhill section, so 27 miles an hour. Still staying on the gas though. About 160, 170 watts for Veronica, and she just continues to build that gap. So she is, boy, now she's really built it out. 100, let's see, 1:45, minute 45 seconds is the gap between Veronica and the rest of the Peloton. So the men's C and women's B group in chase, but they have got a pretty tough distance now. The way it's looking, the Peloton is going to be going for the second place on the day.
Yep, absolutely. And you can see on the profile of the map, they come down off this mountain and then back through that roller section in reverse. And so it's
okay,
like we explained previously, right? Unless you saved a bunch of power really trying to make up time in that rolly section, it's going to be almost impossible.
Yeah.
All right, looks like Brian Castelli's dragging himself, digging deep to come back up with the group here with Brant Arthur and Sealing Chua. And again, he just needs to stay ahead of Dale Huckabee here to win the Omnium. So really, he just needs to, and John Simmons, so he just needs to ride a smooth rest of the race here for another couple miles. Win himself that
It
Omnium
looks
prize.
like the gap between the Peloton and Dale about 1:27. So looks like Castelli putting himself in good position to maintain that lead and cross the finish line in front of Dale. Dale putting in a good effort, showing up all three events.
Yep,
Again,
absolutely. Yeah, this is some decent power. Veronica's still in the 3.3 watts per kilogram. And that's downhill, as you can see, coming into
yes,
coming into view there. We got the rollers, so she's showing some good stamina, endurance. Impressive to see.
obviously got some depth. Not sure what her training program has been late in the season here, but the display she's putting on today obviously showing that she's got the depth and fitness, doesn't need to hold back, doesn't need to coast and recover on those downhills. She is going to put it all out on the table, last stage of the race, so leaving nothing in the tank for tomorrow. So really about 2.5 miles left for our lead rider, Veronica Huckabee from Big Orange. And the rest of the Peloton in chase, now about 45 seconds.
Yep, that was a move that apparently paid off, right? You know, going off the front early on, knowing that it was a small group that may or may not want to try and chase her down.
A little bit of cobbles as Veronica rolls through the 17-mile mark. Love the way the program throws in just the varied road surfaces. A little dirt today.
Varied surfaces.
Back onto the pavement.
The Zwift team and those engineers really do an amazing job with the details. You know, the background, the graphics, everything. Like we've said, the racing might be virtual, but the pain is absolutely real.
100% real. Veronica putting in a little uphill effort right now, 70 RPMs. Look at this, coming up towards 400 watts, 375 watts in this little kicker.
She's sprinting uphill.
She's sprinting over this little hill. Beautiful.
She's digging.
There she is for that. That is the That was the
Yeah,
sprint line, I believe. Yes.
Yep. The green flashing dot. She's digging. Look at that. She wants that $5. Cash
No,
prizes makes people go crazy.
absolutely. Cash on the
She is
table.
digging. Digging. That is fantastic. Rolling in. Great effort.
And only about 1.5 miles to go, so she needs to save nothing. Putting it all out there.
No, she can just rest easy today, knowing that she put in a fantastic effort. And if you can, sir, grab me the time on the sprint segment.
Yes, so we've got 28:60 is the time we're showing for Veronica on that the mountain sprint. Or sprint point, I guess it's not a mountain, sprint point.
All right. And as these three come around the corner now, very shortly, you'll see the second and last sprint banner for them as well. We'll see if Sealing Chua goes to keep up her attack on those sprint segments. See if Brian and Arthur have any, or Brent rather, have anything left in the tank at this point.
Yep. Just came off the cobbles. Looks like the start of the sprint right there. So we saw the green checkers across the roadway. And these riders are lighting it up now. Here they go.
Yeah,
so
7.2,
Arthur, Chua.
6.6. We're digging. Brian's putting in a little effort
going
to stay
for
with
it.
the group as they go. All right, they come across.
And there they are across the banner right there. Close one. Oh boy, look at this. So it looks like times here. Arthur 28:56.
Right on.
Let's see here. Not showing me the full names, so we got to give that a second. Got a snapshot on it. Castelli 31:89.
Okay, and then what about?
And then I need to sort out the second and third place riders here.
How about time for Sealing on that second?
Here we go. Now it's scrolling through, so it looks like $28.60. Huckabee 28.60. Chua 28.90.
Okay, it was close. Looks like Veronica got it.
Gonna have to sort that out.
90. Yep. Yeah, we got our producer in the background here shooting me some text information here. Yeah, so it looks like Sealing had a 28.90 and Veronica with a 28.60. So Veronica got herself that $5 cash prize for the second sprint stage.
Sweet. Well done. And actually, coming up on, looks like a 2-minute gap now between the rest of the Peloton. So phenomenal performance as we're winding down the last mile for her race. She has stayed on the gas the entire day, extended her lead to 2 minutes. She could be soft pedaling and, coasting into that finish line, but that is not the case. She is finishing her workout for the day, 160 beats per minute, 163 watts. So she wants a nice strong finish. It comes to the coastline now, the beachfront, and about half a mile to go. Veronica to take the checkered flag.
That's great. This is a great place to finish on because it's a downhill run. Come down onto the coast like that. A little bit of a reprieve if you've had a really tough day. So it's definitely nice to hit that -2% and just kind of coast in towards town. So Brian, concerted effort just to kind of finish strong. He's got 2 minutes on Dale Huckabee, so Brian will be wrapping up the Omnium, which is great work for him.
I think Brian is sensing the finish line as well. He's putting in a strong effort right now. He has put a little bit of gap on his Peloton mates. Just a few seconds. Let's see if Arthur and Chua can put in a little kick, bridge back on. Otherwise, Brian has got visions of coming across that line second today. Let's see what he can do.
Well, second overall, but he would be, if he can hold this and
Sec-
maintain, he'd be first for men's C in the race.
Right.
So Brant
Omni.
needs to put in a kick here. Sprint. Downhill section.
And Veronica has come off screen. She has crossed the finish line. She is our winner today. Congratulations on a stupendous effort. So Brian maintaining about a 4-second lead with his breakaway or with his Peloton mates.
Yeah, so he's coming downhill. He's going to have the advantage there. It's holding off. You know, we not only gonna grab some cash for the Omnium, he might grab some cash here for winning the men's C road race with this late effort. Great move again.
Here comes that banner. Decision. So it looks like, yes, it looks like Brian Castelli going to be able to hold off the other two as he comes across the line. Beautiful job, Brian. And then our last two riders, Brant Arthur, Chua. Congratulations. Really strong day for everybody. Beautiful effort on those sprint points. That was seemed to be the more exciting part of the day, the sprint points, than the actual finish line. A lot more fireworks, folks trying to grab that $5 for the KOM, QOM, and the sprint points. So all riders across the line from the main Peloton and the breakaway. Still a couple of riders on course.
Yeah, so we still have Dale Huckabee coming in. He's roughly 2 down, so we'll see him come in shortly.
And John Simmons still finishing up his race as well. Stay on the gas, John. You can turn a good finishing time. So John Simmons, this is just interesting. He rode his own race today, but on the road, he did have a good start to the season earlier. So he had early season fitness, did Valley of the Sun stage race, had 13 starts for this year before we had to pull the plug because of the COVID issue. Loves racing. That guy is out there every weekend. About 40 races or so. 2015, 16, and 17 seasons. Doing a lot of masters racing, 50 plus, 35 plus, 45 plus. So he loves to get out there. We were both out at the Livermore Sky Express as well. You were, Cole, the last race for us before we had to put the brakes on. So I'm wondering, was John out there in the same race as us when the rain began to fall and things got sloppy? I don't know which races he did that day. But I think the last race for him, just like us, before we all had to go.
Yep, had to turn indoors. That's why I made the decision to get myself a smart trainer. Try to keep some of that fitness alive through our our interesting and ridiculous 2020 year on us.
Crazy circumstances, but as we saw today, with Veronica Huckabee, obviously, she has been able to overcome adversity. Clearly has been focusing on her fitness and training, whether it be, and I'm not sure where she's out of, where her training is living. But, if you're anywhere in California, you had to deal with heat and smoke, and obviously the inability to ride with big groups, inability to do the on-road racing. So as seen in her performance today, whether she's been doing all indoor training or some solo small group outdoor training, she has been sticking to her plan because she displayed great fitness today in getting over those hills and punching it for those sprint points as well. So well done to you.
Yeah, she did great.
Cole, do you still have an eye on a couple racers on course?
I do not, but it looks like our trusty producer Enrique does. We're watching John Simmons right now coming through the
Gotcha.
tunnel. So it looks like potentially David Huck could be, or Dale rather. Sorry, Dale is finished up, so he's no longer on the leaderboard, which means he kind of
Okay, well
wrapped that
done.
up.
So let's see. Next race, just for those who might be warming up for the next racing, the broadcast, our next group to go will be at 10:15. We've got a nice 45-minute duration. This is going to be a little course. The crack Red Peloton team has selected the Watopia out and back course, 25 miles. A little more climbing in this next group. 1,073 feet of climbing. Like I said, 25 miles. So a little longer duration, a little more climbing for the men's B group, women's A group. 10:15 start.
So this one will actually be pretty interesting as well. Looking at the map here, you got a relatively flat profile coming into the Watopia Sprint and then right into the Volcano KOM, which in and of itself doesn't have too many steep pitches. It's more just kind of a consistent 3.2% climb that kind of spirals up the mountain. And it'll be curious to see with this group how everyone's really so tight within time, how that goes, right? Whether they start attacking on the first climb, save some energy for the second climb, or really try to blow up the Peloton on that first climb and see who's got the legs to get through that second climb. So I'm sure this will be a
shorter duration on that second climb. Much less time to get over.
Shorter duration. It's actually the same climb as first KOM in the C race. So it's again that Watopia KOM, or Zwift KOM rather, but it's the reverse direction. So it kind of has that initial kicker at 8% and then rolls for a little bit as it climbs and then gets up to the banner. So it'll be interesting to see who saves some time for that.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Hey, all right. We got Brian Castelli with us, the winner of today's men's C road race. And as soon as we calculate the results from the Omnium, at this point, he's the potential winner, the preliminary winner of the Omnium. How you feeling, Brian?
I'm feeling very, very, very tired. Very tired.
I bet.
That was particularly tough. My hat's off to Valerie Huckabee. She was just incredible going up that hill. No one could hold her wheel. And then the two people I was riding with, Brant Arthur, and I'm not sure of the other person's name.
That was one of our women's B riders who was just had a beautiful performance today as well. Veronica kind of stole the show being off the front, but Chua did a beautiful job making the power necessary to get over those hills and stay with you guys.
Stay with us. I think she
display.
pulled us. So she did incredible. She was absolutely fast. And Brant Arthur, I thought he was going to just drop me at any second. So that was fun.
Nice job hanging in there.
Thank you guys for putting it on.
Sure. So it looked like, Cole noticed on one of the little climbs that looks like you kind of attacked towards the bottom, put a little distance. Tell us a little bit about your strategy in getting over some of those rollers and maintaining your position. What was your thought and strategy there into the hills?
I knew there was a couple steep turns, and luckily I had a feather. So right before I think I started going up the hill, was doing fine, and then I was going to, try to explode going around the steep turns with the feather. It didn't really work out. I'm not really much of a climber. I did the best I could, and it faded pretty quickly, dragging my 90 plus kilos up that hill. So
well done.
The first hill, I was just trying to hang on. I wasn't going to compete for the KOM or the sprints. I just couldn't. I just wanted to finish with a little bit of something left in the tank.
Well, we definitely
Well, and it
noticed
looks
your
like you
finish there and
dro-
big strong effort in the
yeah,
last segment. Nice.
and you
Thank
drug
you.
yourself back into the group on the descent. So Mike and I were talking about the strategy within Zwift is usually there's very few places you can actually coast in Zwift just due to the algorithms and the way things work, right? So on the way down, you're definitely uh, pushing and still pedaling hard to close gaps and not necessarily taking advantage of the rest. So it looks like you were pushing on the descents as well.
I think on the second descent, or that, which is the longer of the two, I think I was 15 seconds behind, and I was just absolutely dying, just trying to catch back on. Even downhilling faster than most people do, 15 seconds is a lot to make up. So, yeah, I was very, very,
Well
very
done.
glad
Got it
to
done.
catch on. I was kind of surprised. So, anyway, I'm going to go shower. So, thank you guys very much
All
for,
right,
Sounds
Brian.
good,
putting
Brian.
this on.
Congratulations. Consistency is the name of the game when it comes to stage racing, and winner of the men's C, Brian Castelli, consistent over the 3 days, coming in second place in the time trial, first in the criterium, first in today's road race, earning him the overall title and that $50 cash for
Ooh.
the Omnium win and C's. Where do you think he's going to take us out for drinks tonight? Don't know. We'll leave that up to him.
All right. Thank you, guys. Good luck to everyone who's racing.
All right, Brian.
Okay,
Congrats.
we'll
Great
see ya.
job.
You got it. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Brian.
Bye-bye.
Great ride today.
All right, so it looks like John Simmons just coming back into town here. Should be wrapping up shortly.
Excellent, John. Let's have a strong finish today. Save nothing. Time to empty the tank. Well, Cole, it's been fun watching the action and calling the shots with you today.
Well, thank you. Hopefully Jerry Roach will be joining you for the takeoff momentarily. Start warming up.
Yes, that's the plan. So you got to get a little warm up in before your B race. Good luck to you on the course that we just described. Good size field. Let's see.
Yeah, it
showing,
should be. We good.
We got 10 folks that are seated for the race. I had to, let's see, quick look for the folks registered. 7-8 folks in your race today. So be interesting to see, and some strong riders as well in that B group. We will have Timothy Williams, Ten Simpkins coming out today to do the road race in the men's B group. Tang Lo, who has competed in the TNTs, strong long distance rider. Luis Gomez, very strong factor in the criterium yesterday out of San Jose. Let's see, Jay Ruffin, B group as well, Derek Slabutz, and that rounds out the folks who are registered for today. So it should be an exciting and challenging men's B race. We'll be going off in about 40 minutes or so, 10-15.
Yeah. And yeah, it'll be curious. I am absolutely positive there will be some fireworks on the KOMs here, and it'll be interesting to see how all this goes.
For sure, looking forward to it.
So it looks like John Simmons is just now coming up the last KOM here.
Okay.
At blistering 1 watts per kilogram. So
Finish it up, everything you got here, John. So the men's B category again, paying out 3 deep, first place, second place, third place for the men's B race today. 3 sprint points, the 2 KOMs, and 1 flat sprint point, and the $50 overall Omni. So cash
Yeah, and the
is
that
available
one.
today more so than the time trial and criterion. So riders should be giving it everything they to take home as much
And
as
if
they
you
can.
notice,
Again,
yep, you'll notice too that sprint is ahead of the climb. So we'll see how that plays out. See if anyone goes big on the sprint and blows up before the climb.
right. If you're in the Omnium standing, want to save enough to have a good effort on that hill, or if you're not a climber, I have a little bit of experience with this. If you don't have a great chance on the climb or maybe the overall win and a little chance to put a little cash in your pocket, I have been known to sprint for some preem laps when I know I don't have a chance at the overall. So a lot of times you can walk away with more from those sprint competition than the overall competition. So we'll just have to see how each rider plays it today.
Yep, for sure.
So the group that just finishing up and still finishing men's C category, this is your more beginner racers. To qualify for those, it is a watts per kilogram of 3.1 and lower. This next group that we're queuing up here shortly, the men's A's, to qualify for that group, your average watts should be 3.2 and 3.9. And then main event a little later today at high noon, the men's A group folks have earned a spot in the A category by having an average of over 4 watts per kilogram. And we saw it yesterday on that criterium course. Holy smokes, there was a serious display of horsepower in that men's A group. I'm assuming we're going to see the same thing today as we get into the mountain.
Yep, horsepower and tactics. We'll see if that team of David Michael Sweet and Jeremy Cattell come back with additional tactics. See what they've worked out over the evening, looking at the profile of the race.
Yes, Brian Larson as well in that group of 3.
Yep, Brian Larson, that's right.
36 miles that they'll be doing today. 1,800 feet of climbing.
Yeah, I'll be back to help you commentate that race. And again, that's another one where really long, flat lead in with one sprint segment and then right into a steep pitch on Fox Hill. Come down out of that, another sprint, and then right into Box Hill. So that will be just brutally painful on those guys, and we'll see how they all attack that after 3 days of racing.
Yeah, the big climbing's on that course coming into the second half. So what will be the strategy there? Attack at the sprint point, before the sprint point, get a gap before you go into that big hill, save it and make sure you're fresh. Expend yourself on that Fox Hill climb. We'll just have to see what the riders have in store today. But that'll be an exciting one, especially that second half of the course. I'm sure the fireworks will be on display.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about that. All right, so John Simmons just coming in. Got 300 meters to the top of the climb there. All right, Mike, I'm going to sign off. I'll see you back for the A race, but I'm going to go start warming up.
Sounds good. We need a little time to switch over. So I'm going to say congratulations to all the competitors in this group as well. As we finish out this race, that is the completion of the Red Peloton stage race for the men's C group and women's B group. Congratulations to the riders that showed up all 3 days and those that showed up for individual events. Do need email addresses so we can PayPal your winnings to you. If you haven't done that already, send that to us. We're going to take a little break here and we will be back for the men's B race. Have some other folks in the commentating booth here. all the shots, and we're looking forward to the last 2 races of the virtual stage race. So for now, signing off. Thanks for the participating. NC and Women E Racers. We'll see you back here shortly.